Namaste, beautifuls. I am so excited today that finally I am bringing my first guest. So, welcome to you, all of you, in Rise Above. And my mission is to introduce you with the ideas and the thought process and the people. And my first guest is coming, Julie Blackburn, today to bring you with her own ideas and the thought process, which is going to allow you to dig deep inside you and explore your supernatural nature in you in this given situation, COVID-19, coronavirus, so you can rise above. Welcome, my beautiful.
Thank you for having
Julia.
me. This is wonderful to finally be able to do this with you.
Oh my God, I'm so excited. This is my first interview ever, and I am so privileged to have you, Julie. I'm so glad, and finally we are doing this. It's like, oh my God, I'm
But
feeling so
no
enthusiastic.
pressure, right? No pressure being the first interview.
No pressure. I'm actually excited. I don't know how it's going to unfold the entire thing, but I want to just first, I would like to introduce the most beautiful, talented artist, a mom, and for the last 20 years, Julie is doing incredible work with women who is going through, pregnancy trauma, which is like, grief and trauma and all that, which Julie knows how she has put herself entirely into that, devoted her life towards people, and she gives because her every point, every single moment of her life, she just gives. And because I am telling you, because I have been a part of her family every single day, I know how she is and how she does and how her heart opens up for everything, anything, for anything. So I am so excited, and I want her to come up and say something, because right now it's a time, and she has been like so sensitive at this point in time, and she's recording and she's dealing at this point in time. Also, she is doing her work, and she is, helping people, the community, and the women, totally, she is totally into it. So I want to know, Julie, like, how do you find the social distancing at this present moment, like in coronavirus, COVID-19? Like, it's been like long trapped days. It's like we have been locked down almost, I don't know, like it's been 20 days, 18 to 20 days. It's been like,
Yeah, we had spring break for my kids during that time. So yeah, it's been about 17, 18 days now.
yeah,
So I mean,
18.
it feels like it's been quite a bit of time. Social distancing, well, that has been a very interesting, tough thing for our family. You know, when you have two kids that are really busy, uh, you have to kind of figure out how you're going to do social distancing and how do you educate them to do social distancing, because um, my kids actually don't know what a bubble is, a personal bubble. So they're always in everybody's space. So part of this is, you know, you educate them and you let them know what's going on in the world, but then it's giving them examples and constantly kind of being on top of them when they happen to go outside and play, because weather's been nice, so we want them to get out. But at the same time, community wise, uh, it's been really interesting how we have decided to do this as a community. Now, where I live is in Indiana, in the United States, and they're wanting us to be home. They have a general group size of 10 or less. So those are the parameters in which gatherings can be. So I'll tell you how we're doing social distancing is, to be honest, we do have one family that we allow our kids to play with. So between our family and their family, we're 10, we're nine people.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're still staying within the parameters, but the adults don't really see each other, just the children.
Okay.
So there's 4 children that generally play. Sometimes the kids might come over to our backyard. They might go to their backyard, but the adults really aren't talking person to person generally so much. It's more so through things like Zoom, or
Yeah.
we're constantly texting each other to kind of say, oh, kids are in for the day. They were kind of naughty, so have to come in. But we have one other family that, in all honesty, we see this happening like in the street behind us, and we see when we go for a walk around the subdivision, we'll see other neighbors that are doing a very similar thing, and we find that letting them have this one family, we're keeping those germs between us, right? And at any time, we know that this could stop. We know if we need help from each other, that we can turn to each other. But then at the same time, we have some pretty strong hand washing rules. You come in the house, you must wash your hands. Now that people are starting to wear masks outside, uh, this is getting to be a little bit different. My aunt sent us masks, so at any time we may start wearing the masks when they go outside to play, but we haven't enforced that yet. But I think that there is a lot to be said about having just that one family to be able to turn to for emergencies, to turn to when if anything was to become worse for either one of us, I'm prepared. I have a whole room set up if I needed to take in their kids if anything happened to them. So there is this sense of community of being able to take care of each other, which is wonderful.
Yeah, this is absolutely means this is incredible because there it is happening like that, but where I stay personally, though people are around, but it's like the social distancing and the strictness from the government is so much right now almost it is like a we are in the quarantine period, and especially for me, as I told you, I brought a friend who was not well, and it was so hard for me to bring him home at this present point in time, and I had to literally go through this traumatic experience, and but finally, yeah, he's there. So I can't myself go out of the house and can do anything. Only one person goes and does, and that person also is restricted to certain moments. He can go once or twice, or to this time to that time, and very he is not allowed to touch around, go from the stairs, and don't use the lift, because we are having this apartment system where you
Nice.
just yeah,
That
yeah,
makes sense.
yeah. So you can't use the lift, you have to go through the stairs and all that, and now the vegetables and so many things are stopped. So it's I don't know how the coming days we are going to handle the entire situation, how the government is going to react, and now the lockdown period has increased from 21 days to now 30 till 30th of this month. So
Okay.
it's, yeah.
See,
So grow.
in where we are right now, school has been canceled through the rest of the school year. So we are doing e-learning, and the kids are not allowed to go to school until the fall. So they've already made that choice and that decision. So we know that this could be quite some time. We don't know what it's going to be. And part of that social distancing is tough because they're used to petting the neighborhood's dogs, and we are limited now to our street, this little cul-de-sac that we live on. And it and even on that cul-de-sac, you can't even talk to everybody because there's some people with really sensitive immune systems, or they're at great risk. And so even the normal people that you would normally see on a walk, you're not allowed to talk to them. And it's just a really strange thing. My kids are really friendly. So am I. So it's just a very strange thing to say, let's go for a walk, and then we really don't talk to anyone as we're kind of moving along. Like, you live and hear people yelling from their windows, get off my driveway. And you're like, nope, we're just on the sidewalk, So it's people don't want you nearby. It's very odd.
My God, that's like, so, and this, the entire thing, how it is, what do you think it is affecting to people's psychology, how it is going to affect in the future, and how they are going to, how they are taking in the entire, the entire situation, because you are dealing with clients, so many clients, and the grief for clients, and you know exactly what is like happening, uh, because I know what is happening inside me, you know what is happening inside you, and how the entire community is taking, how this is like, because we are, you talk a lot about grief and trauma and all that, so how this entire situation could be like in that zone, like how people would be in the future, how you are seeing the entire people are going to uplift themselves, and how you see the entire situation.
Well, my goodness. I mean, I think everyone is grieving what their life was, right? We were forced into um, a way of living that we didn't choose. So, I mean, that in itself is grief. Usually people are so quick and easy to align grief with death. And now, granted, there's lots of people who are dying right now, so this could be impacting people at that level. But when it comes to our everyday life, that usually when someone dies, we didn't want them to die. When we have a trauma in our life, we didn't ask for that trauma to happen. And this is very similar because we didn't ask for this way of living. We didn't ask to be in our homes as often as we are. Kids didn't ask to be not with their friends at school, or eating peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, or in my kids' case, they don't like mixed vegetables. It seems like a really simple thing, right? Like, who's going to complain about mixed vegetables right now? But when that's the only thing that's on the shelves at the grocery store, that's what we get. So I think that some of these changes, that normalcy of what we even eat is changing, because it's no longer what we were doing, it's what we're doing now. So I think when we think of, like, there's these little micro griefs that we would think of like our everyday life, that are these small little things, but when they start to add up and they're layered upon each other, we start to feel it in all sorts of ways. Like maybe week 1, you were able to kind of make that change. People were really active, right? People wanted to make a difference. And you heard people doing all these different things of how can I do something. Week 2, people started to fall
Absolutely.
off a little bit, right? And they were realizing, wait,
Yes.
this isn't just 2 weeks. This is looking like it's going to be longer than that. Week 3, they start to get tired. You're starting to feel it. Like, wait. And when you think of like anticipatory grief, that is what is happening. You know, you're kind of looking and saying, wait, I can handle this for a couple weeks. But when you realize this is what our life is right now, and I don't know when it's going to end, that unknown ending is what's creating this unsettling feeling. I felt it last week. So it took me, 4 weeks to get there. I was exhausted all week. I couldn't like kind of snap out of it until I had a really good sleep. And now I feel like I'm back to normal, which is good. My daughter today, she just zonked out. I mean, she was having one of those days that I had last week. But we're holding our emotions in, not realizing how many different things that have changed, how many different things that we're adjusting to as the seasons are changing. So now are we only dealing with time changes and the change of weather, and like every day is something different. I mean, we went from 77 degrees down to 39, and our bodies usually can handle that. You know, you think about that, we can normally handle that, but you add all these other layers, we exhaust. Like, we can do so much and then we get tired. So you know, we don't just grieve through our emotions, we grieve through our bodies. Like, our bodies remember trauma, our bodies remember this. Our bodies are always going to remember how we felt during this time. We grieve spiritually. You know, we question, why now? What's my purpose? How am I going to make a difference? Do I need to make a difference?
Yeah.
You might feel like you're getting closer to your higher power or your God. You might feel like you're distancing yourself because you feel like, why would this happen to us now? You know, there's so many different things that could happen. You think about, like, just relationship wise.
Yes.
We're told to social distance. We are told not to be together. So we have choices. Are we going to be together? And how is that going to look? We celebrated my grandmother's 89th birthday a couple days ago by a family Zoom call. And can I tell you, that was the loudest Zoom call I think I've ever been on, because all of us are chatting at the same time, because we haven't ever done all the family Zoom call before. And so, like, my cousin's in India, and like there's some people in Florida, and here we're in Indiana and Illinois, and like all of us are all over, and we're just talking, you know. And I think that's just such a neat thing that we chose to come together for her birthday still.
Wow, that's beautiful, isn't it? Like, it's like, you know, people usually might not be able to come together in a usual situation, but now, because this is the situation, everybody wants to participate, whether it is like because this technology has given this freedom to connect and to at least see each other. We can have the virtual hug, we can talk, and we can just vent our emotion, this is what is happening and all that. At least this great connection we can create with that. But at the same time, like you said, these things are just piling up. You when you initially thought like, okay, a couple of weeks, let's do it, let's have that and inspire yourself, inspire everybody, and let's do it. And then you are thinking now every single day, the day passing by, and the restrictions, and people, the way we are interacting with each other physically, and everything, the how the government is reacting, and how we are not getting the food which we want.
Right, that we're used
And
to.
we used to, and now it is not there. And how we are juggling with even just simple food. It's it's if you think on the other side, it's a kind of adventure, but how you can deal with it. But what about your kids, and what about the sick people, like in my house, or or the people who are not understanding that this is what it is. Like my friend couldn't have this inside his head, that it is closed and we can't do that, it is not possible. This is impossible. This is idiotic thing we are talking about. This is what it is, and how you're going to handle all these things. And I understand how it will be very challenging with kids. So what kind of questions children do, and how you handle, and how you can advise, like how parents can handle this situation? Because I know you deal a lot with children, and how you are expert into it, I would say. And I have seen you doing that,
I don't
making art
know.
with
Always, you know,
yeah.
I feel that honesty is really a good way to go. For me, at first, I didn't want my kids to see the news, like in everything that was going on. And they were not getting it. It wasn't making sense, And so eventually, I sat down with them individually, and I sat down and we watched some news about what was going on. Oh, that was hard to do. It was hard to watch. Um, they, oh, my son is so thoughtful, and he was able to ask some really great questions. And my daughter, she just kind of ignored it, but every once in a while she'd watch, and then she would go do something, and then she'd watch, and then and her going back and forth is what kids do. But I would make sure that I was explaining things as they were seeing them, which it's important to understand. Kids don't grieve quite like adults do. They watch us. Remember, adults can be big kids. Kids are not little adults. They do not have the same reasoning that we do. And they just kind of watch, and they observe how we are coping and how we are doing. And they are going to say, like, if I'm doing well and I'm doing things that are good for me, and I have a nice outlook on how things are going, and I'm coping okay, they're going to do okay, because they're saying, mom is doing this and she is not. And I think that's where the confusion came in, because I was doing okay and they couldn't see where they needed to shift their behaviors. So pretty much their lives didn't change too much as to who they play with, but their everyday stuff did really change. But I was trying to keep some things as normal as possible and as usual as possible, because kids like routine. they like to know what's going to happen. They like to know what to expect. And if we can give them some continuity and continue to give them something that they can hold on to and know, they're going to respond a lot better as well. So that's just something to kind of keep in mind. So some of the things that like we do is, well, okay, so in the mornings, we have them get up, they do their normal, have breakfast, we do our normal start the day with school. But the way that we're doing it, we're still kind of trial and erroring as to, do we do the homework at the dining room table? Do we do it in their bedrooms? Like, how are we going to handle this so that they are most successful? So we're still trying to figure that one out. But I think we got a good plan now. But then the afternoon's much different because it's free time. But I have to give some more structure as to, today we're going to do soccer or baseball or something like that. Like, give them some options so that they're not so loose, you know, because then they get themselves in some trouble if I give them too much freedom, because they're really creative, and it's fun to watch though, because they're making up their own games and they're coming up with different things to do, because they're not just sitting in my house watching television or playing video games or doing things like that. They have to get out and spend time outside. We go for walks. I find ways to incorporate art for them every day. We do things that are community-wide, which is really kind of cool. Like, so at the very beginning, there were things like a bear hunt. So everybody put a number of houses put teddy bears in the windows. And there's a song that goes, "We're going on a bear hunt, bear hunt." Okay, and so then we would go for a walk and we would I spy and look around for bears. And that was something that we did. And then there was sidewalk chalk. And so people were encouraged to go outside and stay in your area for sidewalk, right? So don't get too close, but go outside and decorate your sidewalk. And people went outside and did that. And it was so fun to go for a walk and like see all the art that was outside. We made dog treats for our dog, and they were pumpkin peanut butter oatmeal cookies for the dog. And so she liked
That's
go ahead.
yeah, it's so wonderful. I when I got to know about this bears are there around your place, it's like I was so excited. It's so beautiful. And I am so so it's like I'm so excited to know that, like, how I at your place children are are free to move around, go for a walk, see this beautiful place, and they can play with kids, with the other family, whether it is one family, but they are allowed to play. Yes, one.
Yes, just the
But
one family.
here,
That's
yeah,
what we've done.
yeah, that's so beautiful how here also in India, if we can do, like, okay, like we are here in this apartment system, we know that we are connected together, so how we can allow our children to play with each other, mingle with each other, and yeah, because if you are not affected, you are not going, you are almost in the quarantine period. So how we can make more emotional connection, instead of just the children are many places, because this is the system in India, especially in Mumbai, that we are locked down in one house, and and children are, and people are not go are allowed to go around, move around too much, and or children are not allowed to go out and play. So it's it really takes toll on their system, because they are small kids. They can't understand why we are not allowed. Okay, 1 2 days are enough, but it's like every single day it's piling up, but
Yeah.
it's in a way they, yeah.
And that
And
energy that they have, they've got to get that out. And
I,
so, yeah. And so as parents, wherever you are, you've got to figure out what is that going to look like. And so, really is getting creative. I have to say, like YouTube for different kinds of exercises is wonderful. We do something called Cosmic Kids Yoga, and so it's
wow.
phenomenal. and and so, but
So beautiful.
yeah, and there's like there's disco yoga, and there's story yoga, and there's relaxation yoga, and so there's all these different things that they can do. My daughter learned how to do a back walkover all on her own over the last 2 weeks. I was like, that's amazing. But you try to figure out what it is that's going to work for your kid. And if you have a child that's extremely energetic, it's finding things that are really really useful and helpful for them. Like, are they a child that does well with pushing? Do they need that tactile interaction or stimulation? Is it something where you can do your laundry, right, and have them push the laundry bin across the room? Because if you're stuck and you're in that quarantine, they're going to get stir crazy. And if we can
Yeah.
find ways for them to release some energy, but then also have some quiet activity as well, it's going to balance for the adults, because we can see them and feel their vibrations, because their energy is just
Yeah.
kind of locked inside them. They got to get it out. And so,
Out.
yes, and helping them do that. My kids, we do art every morning, and we actually have found like tons of heart-shaped rocks. So,
Wow, there I see that. Like, yeah, it's so beautiful. Like, you allow them to connect. This is the heart, and
mhm,
how you can connect with people with your big heart. This is heart round, and it's so
mhm,
beautiful. And I just loved. And you have made the entire, group on that, based on heart.
mhm. Yes,
So
yes. We
so
do. We find hearts
they
everywhere.
you made them so sensitive. And the kind of work you give, like when children are feeling so low and all that. I saw one of your videos where you were telling your kids, like, okay, you did some, what are the 10 positive things you did in that day,
Mhm.
and what are the, you tell yourself and I will tell you what are the 10 things you did, so it will be 20 things, though
Yeah.
despite of the fact the day was like, oh my god, the day was horrible and this thing happened. They didn't get through the day, they were feeling low, so you can just tell them to do this is a fantastic
Yep.
exercise which you do with your kids. And you just sit, because you are an artist, you sit with them. Okay, I'm preparing an art, you just sit by my side, let me see who prepares that, beautiful painting.
Actually,
And we have got the competition.
sometimes
it's it
it's that, and sometimes it's I'll read them a story and I say, "What was the one thing that was so important to you in this story? Draw me a picture of that." And then they're making a connection with the moral of the story. So if the story is about kindness and about getting along, then they figure out that one part that they really connect with and draw a picture about kindness. Or if, let's say, one of their favorite books is the the Pout Pout Fish and the Bully Shark. And it's about finding, there's a bully that comes into, the Bully Shark comes into the playground, and there's a little fish. He says, well, I am only one little fish, and I just have a little voice. What can I do? And he realizes that if he uses his voice, that he can actually do something. And so it's such a great book, but to see them take it from reading it to finding their one part that really means something and then them putting it into action is so cool. So, you know, seeing it translate into another area, you know, and there's something that you said, Raya, that I am thinking about, that how do you know your neighbors? Do you know your neighbors well, or in the apartments, do you just not really connect with each other?
Yes, this is incredible part in Mumbai, that people live the next door neighbor. We hardly know and interact with each other. You know, this building is new, so now people just shifted recently. But this is the usual case in Mumbai, that people are around in the apartment, but they are not interacting with each other. They
Okay.
don't know each other too much. You know, it's like, because it's my personality to just go and say hi and hello and ask them, but usually people, you know, don't do
Okay.
that. They're
See, and here's the thing that's going on with the coronavirus is that we usually, at least here in the States, and I know, well, I can say from my family, because every family has its own culture, right? And each culture is going to be so different, is that if I was to come into a crisis, the first people I would usually turn to would be my mom and dad. Okay? That does not mean in this situation they're the right choice,
yes,
right? So,
absolutely.
and this is what is making it so different, is that one, they live 2 hours away, but that's never stopped them from helping me before in a crisis. But their situation is, they are not the people that I should turn to, because they should not be coming to my home if I'm sick, if I contract the virus. So this is what makes things different right now. We really need to look at our smaller community. And so being in an apartment, if you haven't gotten a chance to meet another family, for moms, dads, you know, like for families, to kind of learn who's on your floor, who's around you, how are you going to survive as a community? Because you're who you've got. You can't necessarily
Yes,
branch out to reach out to those normal supports that you had. You actually have to look to the person to your left and right and say, let's do this together, because we're it.
absolutely.
And
Yes, that's so important, isn't it? Like, if you can, the people who you have not connected for years, if this situation can really bring you people together, and you can just rely on each other rather than just being into your this zone, and being trapped in, you know, inside the house, and just, oh my god, I don't want to go here. You can communicate, you can tell your staffs what is happening, can connect and find the solution, which is like, you know, which is greater for humanity, because now we are trapped in this situation. This has to bring more beauty that it is bringing, like you said, the grief bring people more together. So
Mhm.
I think this is one of the good thing can happen in our community. The more and more days would pass, and it is passing. If you are locked inside in your house like this and you are not interacting, you are allowed to at least interact with people around. You just at
Mhm.
least interact with them, know them what's going on, and can help whatever way you can help each other. That's the most wonderful thing, isn't it?
It really is. I know on our, just on our street here, just on the few houses here, we actually like we've connected, and I am not going to the store. I'm not going to the store. I have some things that are kind of keep my immune system a little low. So my husband goes every, like, about a couple, any day he works, he goes, and he's a first responder, so he's going out. But he is, we've offered people, and we're happy to pick up anything at the grocery if he's stopping in the morning. So like we are only picking up one thing, two things, sometimes three things. It's whatever we need to replenish, because we're not overbuying things. Like we're just not. We're only getting what we need, and that's it. And so he's stopping fairly frequently, but he's only getting a few things. But if neighbor needs something, it's okay to stop and ask. It's okay to send me a message, and he'll pick it up on the way home. It's not a big deal because he's already out there. Um, so we have these types of discussions, and as to, you know, do we, if you need something, we're happy to cook for you. If you seem to contract this virus, let me know, and I'm happy to make you meals. I'll just leave it on the front porch. How can I help you get through that situation? So I think as a community, if you haven't started to start to interact within your apartment building, it can really help to find out who is another parent in the area, who is someone who you could maybe get a break. You know, choose that one family that you want to share your kids with, so that you can have a little downtime, or allow them and I don't know if that's okay with your government. I don't know, and you're going to have to make those decisions based on
Yeah,
your law.
yeah, because these are the decisions. Because if you are living in an apartment, police is not going to come. But you know, it is your individual decision how you want to interact, and how you educate your children, and how you are feeling, you know.
Mhm.
And it is all about your mindset uh, towards this the entire virus, you know, coronavirus. That if, oh my god, because pe- uh, people are protected, very protective about children. Oh my god, if my
Oh yeah.
kid will go out, maybe in their family somebody has got, so they are all the more restricting their children. And it is, I think it is uh, giving more painful experiences. I don't know, because when I was as a kid, something had happened. These traumas I'm still carrying. So I
Yeah.
think everybody carries, and this is so sensitive for kids. The situation. That's why I'm so concerned about, like, how the kids are going to take, how you as a parent should be responsible the entire well-being of children,
Mhm.
because they are the most vulnerable, you know, characters, things in the world, who are going to define our future. If we become as a responsible parents, we have to watch our activities, what are we doing, how we are interacting, what kind of words we are using in this situation. We have to be very careful, even uttering a word and responding to the news and the world around. And like you said, you have to prepare a system where or a structure where you are involved, and in a beautiful way. There are a lot of people who were not even going out. I mean, they were not interacting with the kids, and now because of lockdown they are so close to their kids. So now you see how you can build that relationship, that intimate relationship, more closer to your kids. So in the future, children will say, yeah, these value systems are coming from there. Otherwise, like here in India, especially Mumbai, people are so busy, they don't have time for kids and the family, or the wife, and the system is so, people are busy being busy. It's like
Yes, and now we're busy being not busy. Right?
Yeah.
And how do we do that? Like that is completely against everything that we've been doing, is being not busy right now. And I've got to tell you, slowing things down has been so wonderful. I mean, I think everyone has kids for whatever their reasons are. My kids, I adopted my children, and I wanted them so badly. And so this time, at this point in our lives, I've got to say, I'm enjoying them. I'm seeing them grow. I'm hearing their thoughts. I'm seeing them learn. And I value their teachers so much because they're pretty talented people. But also being able to listen to their ideas and be able to say, you know what, that's a really good idea. Let's go with that. And simple things like prayer or meditation, and doing those things that I find to be really important. And saying, okay, we're going to sit and we're going to do it all together, and we're going to pray a little bit differently. And my daughter just saying, well, why don't we hold hands? And why don't we lift our hands as we're saying like saying these words together. She didn't say mantra, but like, why don't we say these words together? And we're like raising our hands together in this perfect little triangle. And she's like, we are a pyramid, and we're lifting our voices up to the world, to the universe. And I'm like, yes, we are.
Wow.
It's beautiful. She's 7.
This is what, wow, my God, such an intelligent girl she is. I feel you are a most beautiful parent I have ever met, and you just no, I am not just, it's not joking, because I have been part of your family. I feel so connected,
Yeah.
to you. And I have seen how you interact with your kids and all that. Even uh, the kind of activities sometimes they do, but the words you use, the way you make them understand things around, it's incredible. And I think that is why you have chosen your subject, like the trauma during pregnancy, and you have taken the children from outside, and you are growing them the most beautiful, amazing people in the world.
Well, thank you.
And
it's been a gift to have you kind of like seeing us as we've been trying to do this, together. And it's been such a gift to have you there, just to kind of, and I'll tell you, my daughter's just so fond of you. She saw that you had sent a note, and she's like, what did Raya have to say today? So it was very
oh my
sweet.
gosh, she's just such a sweetheart, and I felt so honored, and I feel it's a gift to watch them growing like this, and having a mother like this. It's truly a gift to these kids also. And the kind of value system in a fun way you do it, and you said, okay, I want to see what, act of kindness you do, and
Yeah.
I'm going to give you some award, and I'm going to do this thing. So slowly and gradually you are building those system in their into their heart and soul, and you are making them so the people who have got so much strong values and characters, rather than okay losing them out, okay the kids are doing whatever they are doing and we are not concerned. But
Mhm.
every move I see, you pay attention how the kids are doing, and what are the question they can have in their head, and how you're going to deal before they they can come up. You come up with those things, and you make sure that about their well-being and everything. You just so beautifully do it. It's unbelievable, and I just
Oh, thank you.
and I think
Yeah.
this is the way we'll, I love you for that. And this is the way a parents have to deal with their kids, and
Yeah.
it's so
Well,
beautiful.
and I have to say too, this slowing down, us having a time as parents to slow down and actually be with our kids, we can look at it in all different ways. I'm not going to say it's always easy because it's not. I'm not going to say every day is glorious because there's tough days and tough moments. Um, but I think if we give ourselves a chance to be gentle with ourselves, because, this is the first time we're doing this too. We've never done this before. And to actually, and again, I say that to my kids, like, I've never done this before. I don't know about e-learning. I haven't done this. Or I don't know that system. Like, why don't we learn how to do this together? And so by doing all of these different things together, they're teaching me some things. They're seeing me learn and do something new for the first time. Um, there's some things that, you know, they're still doing their normal brother sister thing where they're arguing and arguing and arguing. And one of the things I like to do is when they go at each other like this and they're like, my sister hates me or my brother hates me, I'm like, okay, well, you know what? Stand there and I want you to tell each other 3 things that you think are really cool about each other or really neat about
Wow.
each other. And they're like, they get their little snarl on their face and they sit there and they have to come up with 3 different things. But this is part of who we are. Like we do kindness journals. We do where we have to
Wow.
have them practice how to write their handwriting. They all have their own little pack of colorful pens and a journal where they actually write things that either they did, they saw, or someone was to them, acts of kindness. And then they have to describe it. What was it? And we do kindness challenges. So whoever can do 10 things that are kind without saying, hey mom, did you see that?
Wow.
I have to catch them being kind. And so if they ask for the attention for it, it doesn't count. It just has to come from their heart because they saw it and they decided to do something. So holding the door for someone who needed it, whatever it, I know things are so different now, so maybe it's not holding the door for someone, but maybe it's something else. And it's interesting because usually it's the kindness has been towards other people in the world. Now the only people we can be kind to is ourselves. So it's really
Yeah.
neat to see the growth of our family because we're doing all of these things just us. So our kindness
Yes.
journal is, my brother did this for me to help me today, or my sister did this to help me today, or mom did this to help my sister. Like we help the community by picking up some garbage today, or, just because it's springtime and things are just floating or, like, it's just, this is the time of
Yeah,
year that you do spring cleaning, right? And so like you go around the neighborhood and you just pick up, anyway, but like these are the things that we do to just kind of keep the neighborhood clean, or to beautify things, or like I said, we did the heart-shaped, we painted the rocks and then we put them out in the community, and they have like different sayings on them, like be the change that you want to see in the world, or things that are like patience or hope, love, friendship, things like that. And so I posted it in our community Facebook page, and I just said, let me, like, these are for you. Like, it's a scavenger hunt. So find a heart, scavenger hunt. So these are things that are just things that we do as a family to.
It is so beautiful. It is like, children are learning to see the beauty around, the beauty within, the beauty outside, and how to be kind to each other. This act of, I think, in the world, if one has to take one thing, it is, I think, the act of kindness is the most important thing in the world,
Yes, it's kindness, it's gratitude, right?
Yeah, be grateful about things, and these things, it's so important, and making a point, like writing them down and allow them to see things. It's so beautiful. It is, we can create our beautiful world with these kids, instead of saying, oh my God, children want to run away from the house, they want to do this thing. It is we who are responsible for their act, whatever they are doing, and how you can, respond with the kindness and tell them how it is so beautiful that we are together and we can do this thing, we can do that thing, and create a beautiful structure rather than being disciplined, sitting with the stick and, oh my God, you have not done this thing and that thing. Because many parents are like, so act of kindness is like so important at this point in time. Children teach you something beautiful.
Yeah.
uh,
This slowing
they
down
make you.
the slowing down is exactly what we needed. I'm going to say that for families that are doing a lot of work from home, I'm guessing that this is probably a challenge. I can't say that it's not, because I know the reality. I'm definitely not going to say that my children are perfect by any means, because they're not. And I don't expect them to be either. And I think that's the
Absolutely.
difference. I know for people who know me, like I'm a very consistent mom. So it's kind of important, like for our discipline and things like that, that if I say this is how it's going to be, like if I say we are not going to do something, or if you do that again, we're stopping or we're leaving, that's true. My kids can count on that. But if I say we're going to celebrate something, we are going to celebrate it. And it goes both ways. So I don't want to make it sound like, oh, everything's pie in the sky, or everything's so easygoing in my house, because it's not. But I am extremely consistent, and I think that's what helps. The ages of my kids are 7 and 8, and so when they were little, they didn't listen at all, and even though they're kind of mouthy now, and they talk back a little bit, they are still pretty good kids. So when they get a little older, I'm hoping that this time that we're having right now is going to set a different stage for what's going to be coming.
Absolutely. It is setting up for the future, that the values which you can put right now, think it as an opportunity for you to sit, come close to the kids and put those value system, and just don't, because as an adult so many people they do say certain things and they do certain things, so children, they are confused in their mind, and they don't when they are not able to relate, okay, you, then you have to, then just do it what you said. And I think, Julie, you just what you said, and I have seen again and again you, because I have been so much part of your family and I just see it every day. Whatever you say, you do it. If you say, okay, we are going to do the painting today by this time, this hour, we all are here. If you are not here, you're out, but we
Right.
are doing it.
Right.
We are doing it, or we are going out for certain things, we are going out. Or if
Mhm.
somebody does this, so whatever you are saying, you are making a point that you are doing it. So don't allow yourself, just watch your actions, what you say, do it.
Right.
Because when they become adults, they will say, okay, it is okay to say something and do something. So
Right.
they will not be the leader of the entire society. They will not have those value system. And then you will say, oh my God, why the kids are behaving in certain way? Because you have not watched your own, responses.
Mhm.
So this is a great time you are spending. See, this is a blessing with kids. You are around with kids. Spend as much as time. Use the time for, if you can devote your time, maximum time. In future also, it becomes easier for you when you go out to interact with your kids. And they will
Right.
know you better as person.
Right. And there's so many things, like the simplest thing, lemon juice, for example. Lemon juice is kind of hard to come by in our area. Um, I I don't know why, but it's one of those things that has been a little tough. Now, lemon juice in our house is a staple. Uh, I like to make like these little lemon crushed ice drinks, and my kids like to make their own homemade lemonade. And so, seems like a real simple thing. When we don't have it, now we're starting to have to become like more creative, like what are we going to make? Or they're having to understand, um, we just don't have it, right? They haven't
Yeah.
been kids that have gone without. And I think that these are the tough times that we are upon, in having to tell our children, we don't have this. In some families, this is what their normal has been anyway, right? And so it's very interesting time as we kind of look
Yeah.
at all these different things as what we can offer our children. And sometimes it's something really simple. I mean, even my kids have said, like, because they're not used to hearing that we don't have something. That my daughter was eating an apple the other day, and so she's eating, and I was thinking, like, man, she's really like getting down to that core, right? So she gets to the bottom, the core, and she gets a seed, and she's like, all right, I got a seed. I'm like,
Wow.
what do you need a seed for? Like, and she's like, well, we can plant the seeds and then we'll have apple trees. And I'm like, you are right. We could do that. And I said, have you done that? And she says, oh, yeah. In the neighbor's yard, we've been planting apple seeds everywhere. And so I sent a message to their mom, and I'm like, guess what? Don't be surprised if you have an orchard in your backyard in a couple of years. But it was a very funny way that they're so smart to come up with some of these ideas.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. And there is the beautiful thing that they respond to it. That's what we have to learn. If we see something, we have to respond to it. We have to take action. And they immediately, okay, yeah, we can plant it. And they go and just go. It's a simple act. Go and dig the earth and just put it, and then just they will water it. It's done.
It's done. I had to explain though, we're not going to have an apple tree and apples this summer.
Whatever, but it is so beautiful. Yeah, but it is so beautiful to see, whether we are not having or having, that's a different, but see their mind. It is prepared. Whatever you see, just respond to it. Just do it.
Well, and then when you think about earth and you think about ground and you think about how these kids, and I think about your community, and I think about how they don't have that ability to get their hands dirty in that soil, right? Do you have like window gardens?
I, Means I am fortunate enough to get a terrace apartment
Oh,
where
nice.
I have, yeah. Otherwise, in Mumbai, you don't get that kind of place to have, I have put a small, I have got a little plantation is there, plant is there.
Okay.
So, yeah,
Well,
some plants are there. The aquarium is there. So, I can go and watch the fish swimming and,
yeah.
the plants are there. So that kind of thing is there, but you can still put little plants through the windows and whatever way, so
Mhm. You can
you
still
can
have some
teach.
plans, but
Yeah,
that,
you can have some plans.
yeah,
So give that feeling. And I think we must have pets also, some kind. So we need to teach children that we are a part of this ecosystem, how to make the
yes.
connection with animals and the earth and the trees. So we need to teach, rather than because here in society, oh no, we can't go with the dog, you keep your dog away, that kind of attitude is there. No, you keep your dog away, my children are not going to. Our children are excited to see, oh my god, such a nice dog, we want to have the dog, or we want to have some kind of pet inside the house, or because here it is like, it is not there are so many societies where they restrict the animals, that
Yes.
it is not zoned out for the animals, and some people hate animals around them. So it's mess. I don't know what to say. It's so difficult, so challenging to be a part of that. But we need, if we don't change our mindsets towards the entire ecosystem, this has happened because we didn't understand that. Most of the people don't understand that. That is why we are into this situation, and we have to understand, we have to make them friendly, a part of our system. So I think,
Well, my goodness, you bring a really good point, because I don't know if you've been kind of noticing, but it seems like um, animals are starting to kind of like come into these
yes,
populated
yes,
areas, and it's because we're all inside. They can finally
yes,
come back to these areas. I can tell you that I've seen more ducks. This land that our house is on, it used to be farmland, and so ducks would kind of be all, and birds would be all over anyway. But in our, not the neighbors, they have a, a duck that has nested and has 4 eggs there. And
wow, oh
yeah,
my god.
yes. And so
So beautiful.
the neighbor had opened the window and said to Emily, my daughter, you know, you keep those boys away from the duck nest. And she's like, I will. She's like, you can check on them, but if there's a duck there, you don't go close. And she's like, okay. So she goes and she checks twice a day to make sure the eggs are okay.
Oh my God, so beautiful.
But we have had a duck nest in this area. You know,
Wow.
there wasn't one last year. And I mean, I've seen like these duck couples, which I mean, a lot of them. And last year I saw nothing like this. Nothing like this.
Wow.
So it's neat
Wow.
to see how, I mean, I'm seeing other animals that are kind of coming through. The deer are really close, which is different than what I'm used
Wow.
to. And so it's really a neat kind of time when you think of not just a dog that you have in your home, but that kindness to other animals.
Animals, yes, we need to bring the kids close to the nature. We need,
Yeah.
because now the mall system, mall culture is there. Parents are taking them to the mall rather than taking them to jungle or taking them to the place which is like close to nature. Expose them to the nature, let them play, let them see the nature, let them make a relationship with that. That is so important right now,
Mhm.
and it's so beautiful, and which you are doing, and this is what we need to do at this present moment in
Yeah,
time.
we are multi-sensory people. You know, we are multi-sensory
Yes,
beings. So,
yes, we are.
you know, to feel the difference in the air when the weather changes, or to, you know, look to the sky to see the clouds, and
Yes,
just to lay,
looking.
just to tell stories about the images that you're seeing in the clouds. You can do that from your window. You don't have to necessarily go out to do that.
Yes,
So
yes, let them allow to look at the life. It is up to us how we interpret and how we see and how we allow them. It is so beautiful.
yeah,
And I'm so, so happy, Julie, to have you. Like, oh my God, it's,
this has been
I
a great
feel,
talk. My goodness, this has been a really great talk. So I
yeah, this
mean,
is, yeah, it's beautiful talk. And your ideas and, your entire being you have poured into the interview.
mhm.
And it is so beautiful, and the insight which you have given, it's so beautiful, and I am sure this is going to help people some way, how they can respond to the kids, how they should respond to the environment, how they are responsible their own behavior, and how we can work as a community, help each other in this town. This town could bring us all together, and now, as we said, it is a global community. It is no more now we are an individual. We should be happy right now. We are part of such a big thing rather than the small. Don't categorize yourself into the region, but you just expand yourself to this beauty which is emerging out of it.
I agree with you, because it seems like through all of this, I'm closer to people than I have been in a long time. And it's only because we are being forced to actually work at it, instead of say, oh, I'm too busy, or it's too hard, or, well, we don't have a choice. We can't actually go see you. Excuse me. I can't go
Yeah.
see you, but we have to be able to see each other in a different way. And so there's a sense of flexibility in that, and it's just so neat. So it's wonderful. So I am so glad that I could actually spend time with you today. This has been wonderful. Mwah, thank you.
I love it.
um
Thank you so much. I love you, and
oh,
I
you're
love
welcome.
every single moment I spent here on this interview. And this was my first interview. I am so thrilled about it, and
It
I
was
don't know
great. You
how it
did a
has.
great job. You did a great
And
job.
I think it inspires people
Yeah.
to just connect ourselves with the community, our kids, and to the environment. That's what, and just we can rise above, we can handle any
Yes.
situation in the world, and we can make this world most beautiful, amazing place with so much love, compassion, kindness,
Yes.
and it's
Absolutely.
so beautiful.
Well, thank
Thank
you
you
so
so
much.
much, Thank you so much, Julie, for
You're
coming on my
welcome.
show.
You're welcome.
Love you.
Mwah. Bye.
Bye.